Good morning, everybody. My name is Jason Meyer. Welcome to Morning Jump Start. This morning we're going to work on a little still life from Janny first, and then we got a rabbit that seems to be in a little trouble from Susan. So that'll be our two projects today. And oh, that's right, she's here with the rabbit and waiting. Excellent. Good morning, Susan. Good morning, everybody. So before we get started, let's do a few announcements. This evening we will be on Facebook, Meyer Studio, for Sketchbook Live at 7 o'clock. We'll be doing two 10-minute sketches. Sketch Club's meant as a way to stretch, exercise those artistic muscles. Whether you've never sketched before, you're a beginner, advanced, or pro, we all need to work out those artistic muscles. So we hope you can join us there. Then for those of you in class, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. we'll have our final Zoom meeting of this session. And then the next session will start Monday morning at 9 a.m. And if you're in class, make sure to bring sketch pad and paper. This is going to be interactive. Yeah, it doesn't really matter what. If you want pen or whatever, or the charcoal can be kind of messy when you're on the computer, but whatever will work. And I think that's it for right now. If you're interested, the new class is going to start Monday. You can jump on board. We're going to be looking at the head, neck, and shoulders. The head, neck, and shoulders. But in the meantime, there's always the here and now. And I think that's a good place to start. All right, so we're having lots of fun this month with just a little pear and then, whoops, the tapestry in the background. Very nice. So I think what I'm going to do is the first thing, let's go in and let's kind of take this background out around the painting so that we can focus on the painting. And let's look and see what we have. Now we have to be a little bit graceful because the paintings, if they don't have glare, most of the time they're not square to the canvas. So there's a little bit of lean and tilt. And so that can make some of the drawing look a little off. But just remember the circumstances of photographing the painting. So don't get too hung up in that. We don't talk much about that anyway. We talk about the big movement, the big composition. What's the big idea? Hey, buddy, what's the big idea? So let's see if we can get into some trouble, huh? Remembered my timer today. We're taking this to the next level. To the next level. All right, so let's see. First off, let's see, what'd be a good background? What would be a good background? Something like that, maybe? Oops. All right, now we're up and running. Should have came out and let the car warmed up first, huh? Should have come out and started the car a little earlier. Let everything warm up. All right, well, it looks like a party to me. It looks like a party to me. So what do we have here? What do we have here? Oh my goodness. We got some background showing through. We got background showing through. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So are we going to the pear? Yeah, I think so. We're going to that area around the pear. So these get a little more complicated because as we get up here, there's not one thing really off or anything, but it's more of slight adjustments on a lot of things for improvement. And that's why after you get to a certain stage, sometimes it seems very hard to improve. And it's just the adjustments are a little smaller. So I think what I'm going to do is, why don't we march through here? And let's just go through our checklist, right? Our values. We're going to check our 4 values, make sure that they're all appropriate where they need to be. And then after that, we'll check our 3-dimensionality. Make sure we have 3 dimension, that we have near to far on there. And then finally, we'll make sure that our movement is coordinated. Okay, so why don't we look at this thing in those terms and see how it's going. But yeah, it's a party. Makes me feel happy too. All right. Look, she made it in Italy. No, she made it finally. Well, we haven't started, so you're here just in time, Janny, just in time. But trying to read 7 things at once, it looks like made it in Italy. That sounded exciting. That sounded exciting. Hey, Sin. Sin's doing a great job helping everybody get signed up for the new school so we can run our classes through there next month. Okay, so value-wise, what should we do? Well, I see a couple of things. That make me put my dad pants on. Say, Janny, get down here. So what I want to find out is if this dark back there is darker and it is than my shadow up front. So what's happened here, and again, this is pretty easy to do, but I want to slow down because it's imperative that you guys learn to see this, is this shadow's a number 3. That right measure. This is a number 3 and this is a number 4. Okay, and remember to bring something forward. We want a 1 and a 2, a 3 to soften the edges, but this needs to be a number 4. Do you guys see what we just did there? So what did I just say was involved in our main subject? Well, I called forth number 1, I called forth value number 2, I called forth value number 3, and I called forth value number 4. The whole enchilada. Okay, and so then everything back here needs to be less. Less. And if you have something back here that's not only less, but is more than it's supposed to be in the foreground, we lose that feeling. Okay, so that's going to be the first thing that I'm going to address. What I'd like to do is just point out a couple things, And then let's see if I can get to work. And the other thing is, we can get there from too many directions. Right? It's kind of, it's one thing to let friends and family and everything in. It's another thing just to leave your doors open and unlocked when you sleep at night. Right? Just let whoever wants to, the raccoons, the bears, the neighbors, the strangers, the thieves, let them all in. I don't know. Maybe I'm paranoid, but that just feels a little dangerous. It doesn't make me feel secure. Okay, so for that sake, I'm going to be taking out some of these other entrances. Maybe even this, and probably even this. And we're going to utilize all of that. Okay, so I like what's happening here. There's a lot of good things happening here, but I think the main thing is the foreground. The foreground and the background are too equal. And when that happens, that means that the background is no longer background and the foreground's no longer foreground. So we want to say, look, this is real. This is in front of us. And this is two-dimensional and it's background. Okay, if we just pause and think about foreground, background, and what we know about our values, then we can do it. Now, I know it's not always easy, or we lose our intention, we lose our thoughts. But again, I want to show you, even at this high a level, it comes down to usually some pretty simple things that we overlooked. Italy's not bad. A little misreading, huh? A little misreading. Yeah. Yeah, I knew you would see it the second I saw it, but again, when you're in it and it's hard to keep it all straight. It's hard to keep it all straight, and that's why we're meeting so much. It's just so we can see it again and again and again. Good morning, Shakti, because I want these to be your eyes. I want you to have your eyes. All right, Claudia. Okay, so we're going to make sure that we got value 1, 2, 3, and 4 up on our pair. And then we're going to make sure there's no number 1 value and no number 4 value in the background. And then we're going to make sure that there's a particular place to enter here. Right? I know, I'm a little bit of an introvert, so I don't usually throw a big kegger and invite anybody who wants to walk through the door. And so I need, oh no, won't you come in from this door? So maybe this is a personal hang up, but if it is, look, then you will know what to do about it. All right, that's about 10 minutes of chatter. Oof. What is this, a talk show? What is this, a talk show? Okay, you ready? Yeah, really nice movement. Yeah, back to the basics. Back to the basics. So let's go with Shakti first. There's some brilliant movement in here. Right? Like, I really love that idea. That, not to be too transparent, but that gets me excited. I mean, that gets me excited because man, a powerful painting can happen with that. So I agree. Good movement. Good movement. Good. Thanks, Jan. I'm so glad you can see that. You can see it, and then let's watch that happen. Let's watch that happen. I still got about 8 minutes because I've only got a couple to do today. So What does an 8 minutes look like? What does 8 minutes look like? Let's take a green. Let's darken that green, give it a little more chroma. Why? Why would we want this shadow maybe to be a little stronger in color? And make sure we keep it warm. We want to keep the white out of it. And if we wanted reflected light, I haven't talked about reflected light, so let's do that. So we make things look lit up with hard edges. So if this is a cast shadow, see if we're dark enough here. We're dark, but that seems a little bright. That feels a bit better to me. Still feels a little chromatic. All right, let's see. So what we would do is if we wanted to have reflected light in here, then I'm going to come in here and with my form shadow, that's going to be dark and that's got to stay dark. We don't ever really want to eat that away. Okay, now you could put the dark wherever you want to put it. And if we're going to say reflected light, if the light comes in from this way and hits the highlight right there, then we want the reflected light to work the other way. Right? We got conflict, we got drama, we've got counterbalance. So let's put this shadow nice and tight right here. And then let's get a nice hard edge to light this thing up. And if we can go through something, then we're magic. So go through something. Okay, so this is going to be the original shadow here, but I want that reflected light to be worked into my shadow. But I just wanted to show you where the reflected light's going to go. The reflected light's going to go that area I'm covering up right now. You see how instantly that comes in front of? And I know it takes a little while to get this in your eye, but once it's in your eye, oof. Oof, you have the power. You have the power. Okay, and then on the other end, let's take this hat down to maybe a gray. They're slightly darker than I had. Let's just make sure there's nothing darker than that gray. Yeah, and then our halo got a little big. Again, I would put the halo only on the lit side. And then I don't know that we want the bottom of the tapestry showing so cleanly. All that's doing is calling an attention to an edge. And generally, if we can get to the heart of the matter, if we can focus on the heart of the matter, the inside, rather than the end, the edge, then it could be a little more powerful painting. Right? And then by taking this a little darker down here, and then a little lighter up top, I think that'll help us out. And again, one of the things I'm doing is getting rid of the glow on, or the halo from the pear on the shadow side, because that's not going to be giving off light on the shadow side. Okay, and then what if we knock some of that color down just a bit? And I'm going to do this too by kind of mucking up the edges. Okay, and I think that might need to be taken down a couple of notches maybe. You see, they're small measurements, but I think it's making a big difference. Okay, now Janny, again, you've come a million miles, so were we able to turn that into background a little bit? So see, the timer's going off, but before we stop here, then what we could do is maybe just make sure, right, we take some of this out. And then up front here, do you see how that, like, just taking that one part out right there, just to me got really intense, because we have now more of a singular movement with this here. I'm probably going to drop his whole value down like that. Okay, and then I think also if we came back here and again just took some of this light bit that's happening back here, okay, I think you're in business. All right. And here too, like I might, I don't know. I don't know. This is so fun. I wish we could just work on it forever. But I hope that helps, kiddo. I hope that helps. Let's see. So let's see this happen a minute. I want to take a sip of tea. So we'll watch a little replay here. Did I do all that one layer? I guess I did. Okay, so again, just making a little more of a focus. A little more of a focus. All right, let's see. Really helps, Jason. You're welcome, Janny. Great, yes, great job. Great job, Janny. Really nice. Okay, no, yeah. No worries. I don't feel pressure that you have to do. Again, this is, sometimes life gets away from us and we can't do it. I've been frustrated. I couldn't finish paintings for the last 25 years, so don't be frustrated. We'll get to it, but we'll invest all this knowledge into our next painting. All right? Great job, kiddo. Great job. Have a good day, and don't let it be too busy. Don't let it be too busy. All right, how about number 2, huh? Number 2. Now, I told we had a rogue rabbit. I wasn't lying. This guy's completely out of control. Completely out of control. So, the question is, was he here before the drinking got started or after the drinking finished? Or hopefully not in the middle of the drinking. I don't know. I don't know. Excited to paint. Excellent. Go get him, Janny. Go get him. All right. So, isn't this fun? Isn't this fun? I was in the kitchen just getting a little snack. I think it was last night. And Cindy just started laughing. I thought, what are you doing? She showed me this. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So, you got a great concept. Lots of cool things happening here. So, how can we make it even stronger? How can we make it any stronger? So one of the comments was never done glass before. Glass is a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun because it's kind of a game of how little can you put down, right? Unless you're trying to paint really dirty glass or something. The idea of glass is that it's completely transparent. And so it only leaves hints of its existence, right? So you'll see some shadows a little bit, you'll see some highlights a little bit, but at some point it's good to see straight through it very clearly, right into the background or whatever's behind it. So make of that what you will. But before we get started, let us go ahead and talk about the idea of glass for a second. Okay, so let's forget about this work, and we're just gonna think about the idea of glass. So we're gonna pretend the light's coming in like this, right? And if it's coming in from the front, what will happen? Well, the light would hit right here, right? And then if we went straight across to the back, it would also hit right there. Right? So if you show that, you can get a lot of the drawing done like that. You do not want these equal, right? Usually one has a lot more than the other. Then it's transparent. It's transparent. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, the light hits it, and then especially if there's a surface of liquid in here, right, then we'll have the second top. And then on that, you might have a highlight right here and a highlight right there. But then down below, this is the light side. transparency. So this will be warm and lighter than this side. Okay, so what would that look like? What would that look like? So in order to set this up right, let us go ahead, and I like to start with whatever I'm doing with my glass and draw straight through it. Let's see, we're on charcoal now, so let's go back to charcoal. Let's go to charcoal. Huh. Oh, here we go. Oh, that's not it. Is that it? Alright, that'll do. That'll do. So let's go and just go straight through this. Again, I'm not saying anything about the drawing or the concept right now. I'm just talking about the idea of glass. Okay, and what I want, just to make this simple, is let's get a nice solid background that's happening. We'll come back to you, buddy. Don't you worry. You hang in there. You hang in there. Seems like you're nice and secure. Don't tip out. Don't tip out. Okay, so I'm going to level up and I'm going to draw the glass just so you can see where I'm putting things rather than, wait, what is that? And then we'll take the drawing layer off. So we're going to say the top of it is here. All right, we got a side here. We're going to come down in the middle. I want to get this stuff right. Okay, so we're something like that. That's going to go away, but just so that you know where I'm doing that. When I'm painting or drawing, I do not put that in. Again, this is just so you can see clearly where I'm putting what. So then the highlights, we might have one here, and then we might have one here. How do you show near to far? Yeah, you can do that on a highlight. How do you show near to far? It's little things like that that's going to make so much of a difference. Well, a little darker, richer up front, and lighter, grayer in the... Now, if this is way in the background, it's not getting lighter, grayer, right? But pretty close, we can just go slightly lighter and grayer, and we've got it. Okay, and then we've got the top of the liquid. So if we came down and put a little highlight on that side, and if we slid down, put a little highlight on that side. And what this is, for those of you who don't know, this is the level of liquid in the jar or in the glass. Then, okay, just to be clear, we would have warmth shining through right here. A little warmer, a little lighter. And I don't know why I'm putting red wine in a martini glass, but hey. So then a little darker on the other side. And then how does the top compare? Well, it's lighter, cooler. Okay, but we're looking through glass, and so we want some of it to be gray, right? And so there's going to be some grayness, but this is the order it goes in. And then on the stem too, right, you might have something similar here, or you might not. And then somewhere here on the stems, the light's coming in here. It would probably catch a thing. But then again, and if there's nothing there, it's just clean glass, well, we can still warm that up on that side a bit, can't we? Okay, so I know that was fast and quick, but hopefully it gave you kind of some landmarks. And there's nothing new introduced here, because we already knew what transparency was, right? We already know how to do near to far. We already know when the light hits something, it's a little bit cooler, the transparency's warmer, and then the light and the shadow switch if something's transparent. Okay, so work with those ideas and see what that brings you. Let's see, I worked on the wrong. Anyway, I got a layering problem. You guys should know that by now. I have a serious layering problem. Don't worry, I'm talking to somebody about it. I'm seeking help. So it'll turn out okay, but for the time being, you'll have to forgive my layering problems. So what's next, huh? How would we make this stronger? Well, again, I think I would be for sure, let us for sure, and you've done a pretty good job of this, is sometimes if things aren't quite strong enough, right, we need to think about how can we make our shadow a little stronger. And so how do we make something stronger? Well, if it's larger and flatter. So you see, all I'm doing here is basically evening out this value. And what that does is, instead of a bunch of little bitty boats on the lake, now we're going to have a huge boat on the lake. I hope that's a big lake. Oh my gosh. And I know this stuff used to drive me nuts, right? They would come and just do a little bit, and all of a sudden it was solid. And wait, what? So it might be a little bit big there. Get some nice solid dark in that eye. Yeah, and then continuing it there, that's great. And then, like, if we're seeing the shadow, through the glass, then what we can do is we can just slightly weaken the value, make the edges in the drawing a little blurrier, not quite so clean. And then in this case, the rabbit is not liquid, is not transparent. It's not a transparent liquid, but solid. So then let's get a nice solid sharp edge right there. Okay, now very subtle, but things like that, that's what's going to do it for you. That's what's going to do it for you. And now what's happening, let's go up a layer. Is look at all the places that are highlighted on this glass. I think this is rabbit here. But you see, and I'm not saying it's not in a wasn't in a photo or boom boom. They're meant, but again, we've got to. We don't have to. But right now we're thinking about single light sources. Is the It's a more intense way to do it. So since he's looking this way, and I want to get him, what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to get a highlight right here on the glass, negate maybe some of these highlights, and then pick a highlight up right next to that dark back there. Okay. So if I was to, if we were to come through here and say that's the background there, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint that straight through. And again, we want it to feel like glass, right? And the feeling of glass is that we can't actually see all the edges. A good, nice, hard silhouette here. You know, we may want to show some fur or something. But then we're going to have a highlight right next to that. Let that just spill out. Okay, then let's come here on the bunny rabbit. And let's take away some of that white. And again, so through the glass, what I might do is just drop it down and gray it a little bit. Okay, and then, do you know what he said? He said, boo. Okay. Come down here, get a nice highlight there. But then let's save the good stuff for right. Ooh, here. Here, 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 here. Little gleam off the glass, maybe. Maybe. See, can I get small enough for that? Oh, but wait a minute. If the light's coming from this way, that light on that, the rabbit on that side won't be catching any highlight, the eye on that side. And I'm not going to be able to get small enough, but I get a real nice highlight on that nose. And if we did that, what does that mean? What are the implications for the rest of this work? Well, it means I've got to make sure what back here, that there is no number 1 and no number 4. Because this is now background. It's supporting cast. Right? So we need to save all the drama, save all the camera time for you know who, for that drinking rabbit. For a drinking rabbit. Let's see, that doesn't look dark enough to me. You know, and shadows can kind of come from anywhere and for any reason. One of the things there's a lot of this going on in this painting, right? And then a little bit of that. So if we can take something like that and again intersect it, it's not as strong. So maybe even coming over this, there's a shadow cast on the table. It can be any shape, whatever. We have soft, it's got hard edges right now, so it looks a little funky. And then what would we do is it goes through the glass. Well, since it's darker, we get it a little lighter, a little grayer. Indicate that like that. Right, and yeah, sometimes it either runs down below it or maybe up above it so much so it doesn't perfectly match the shadow or the thing behind it. Okay, and now don't be so heavy-handed as me. Do what I say, not what I do. I'm kidding. There it is. But look at how powerful this will become. If we can get rid of some of that back there. You know, especially, oops, oopsie daisy. Especially if you can give us a good hard outline. Do you see how just really bringing those shapes definite? Right? And then that's one part, and then the other part is no competition. I mean, you know, in most of our lives, I don't think that's what is good and healthy, but this isn't our life. This is a white value, a light value, a gray value, and a dark value. So we've got to use some different rules and stuff. But you got a killer here. You got a killer here. I hope that gave you some ideas. I know that's pretty quick for a lesson on glass and all of that. But, okay, so that idea of clarity. How can we have just a little more clarity? Right, so you see that flatness ends up having a certain level of clarity to it. Right, especially when you remove things. So some of the clarity is a good, solid, big, flat shape. And then some of it's taking things away. And then what you do put in, make sure it's so special. Make sure it's so special. All right, so I hope that helped out, Susan. Hope that helped out. Let me look up here, see what's happening. How about a little do-si-do here? Boom, boom. That's all for you, Susan. That is all for you, my friend. Yeah, look, she's still laughing. I told you, she's got a laughter problem. Claudia wants a pink elephant. I think she's laid down. Yeah. Yeah, Susan's funny girl. Funny girl. Nice job, Susan. Yeah, glass is one of those particular things, but it does go with the rules of transparency. Just a lot more subtlety and things on it. So we'll revisit that again. Oh no, I didn't want to do that to you. I'm sorry. I was kind of in a creative mood, so sometimes it's hard to connect. So I hope I wasn't too much on there. Just nothing. nothing at all in other places of glass. Yeah, that's the idea, is how little can you put in there? And again, the viewer's imagination is going to do it. But, big general principle, the less you put in, the more accurate right? You can't put, if the whole top of that rim of the glass is nothing but two highlights, well, they can't be catty-cornered or jacked up or down, right? Boom, they've got to be solid because they're carrying the weight of all that drawing. Yeah. I know it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Wendy. That nothing at all in other places of the glass. Slight darker accents, highlights. You know, sometimes it'll get a reflection, but the idea is to show transparency. Yeah, that was a long pause, right? It's not show transparency and. No, the idea is just show transparency. Transparency. All right, glad you're feeling a little better about it. So good to see it. Yeah, if you just talk about it, it will make your head explode, but, you know, to see it. And the thing is it takes some time to sit down and move these pieces around. And while you're figuring it out, it seems to take forever. But don't worry, it'll come, it'll come. Excellent. Brilliant and emotionally engaging composition, Susan. Yeah. Can't wait to paint it. Yeah, it's just a matter of patterns, glass and silver. It's nothing more than patterns. But glass and silver, the measure of the patterns. Right? Metal, how do you tell metal? Well, study the highlights of metal. And if it's a bright light or if it's polished, the highlight's going to be bigger and stronger than usual. But that number 2 value falls off really. In metal, there's very little number 2 value. Very little number 2 value. Highlight and then it goes dark really quick. Okay, we're not getting a pink elephant, but she says an elephant it is. Rembrandt's got an elephant drawing that's to die for, so I want to see an elephant. And the grayness. You got to give us all that form in gray. That's even better, even better. All right, everybody. Well, wonderful. Thank you for turning in your work. That's it for the Morning Jump Starts this week. Next week, we'll be back starting with a brand new class, and we're doing structure of the head, the neck, and the shoulders. We're not going into anatomy, but just how these forms fit together, how we show twists, turns, stretches and bends with twists and turns, shoulders, right? Lots of stuff to play with. So I'm excited for this next one. It's going to happen in our brand new school, and I hope you'll join us. Sketch Club tonight at 7, and then Zoom for everybody in class tomorrow morning at 9. If you're not in class and want to be in class, get signed up. You can do that from the website. Leave comments here. We'll get back to you. The next class starts Monday. Okay, thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.